Welcome to the shop. I'm Jared and this is the Questionable Garage. And this is a Jeep. Yeah, if you remember, a couple episodes ago, I had an opportunity to go to Bowling Green, Kentucky to drive the new Corvette Z06 as a guest of Holly at the NCM Motorsports Park, where you can go and drive a Corvette as well. And instead of being normal like everyone else and just showing up to the event, I flew to Richmond, Virginia, met Zach, and bought this Jeep from him for $1. It's been in his family since brand new. They bought it in Pennsylvania, moved to Virginia with it, and then the Commonwealth of Virginia deemed it unsafe to go down the road. Which they probably were correct. The frame, well, it has more holes than Swiss cheese in a couple areas. And, well, the brake lines broke on us in a car wash. I did the right thing, and I got it running and drove it all the way to Bowling Green and then back home to Georgia, and now we are gonna fix it. And really, when it comes to fixing it, it doesn't need a lot, but it needs a lot, if that makes sense. During the drive, we had the overheating issue where I was able to find an O'Reilly's that had all the parts I needed, including a parking lot that I was able to take advantage of, and we got the cooling system fixed. But we are left with a couple issues that will keep this vehicle from passing any safety inspections. The frame with holes and a heater core issue and just a couple other just small things. So our goal today is to get the suspension right, to get the frame repaired, and get a heater core in it and make this thing work. Now, Jeeps are plagued with frame rest issues. I did a restoration on a Jeep CJ5 with my father-in-law, editor Dwayne, for his dad's Jeep. We went through like 3 frames to find a good one. They have certain areas that are really bad about trapping moisture and trapping water and trapping dirt, and they just rot through. But the benefit of it being a very common problem is you're able to get parts to fix it. So one second, let me... This is nice and stealthy, isn't it? Ha! I have Jeep repair parts on a table. Now, I don't know that I need all of it. I just was online shopping and saw all of these as one package, so I bought all of them. But I believe the only problem parts are basically back here. And what these parts are repair caps. They're designed for you to cut away the rot, keep the main primary structure of the frame, and weld in new metal over the top of it. So, depending on your state, certain laws may not allow section repairs. It's a very common thing for Jeeps, but if you're doing a rust repair for yourself, you have to take into consideration you are technically changing how the frame is going to respond in a collision. This is not a way to say, do it this way, it's right. We are technically going to change how it's going to collapse in a collision. And the main reason I feel comfortable with these is it's all center frame. It is not the outriggers. There are people that sell and do, you know, the forward section and rear section of the Jeeps as frame repairs. If you're in an accident, that's the main section getting crushed. I'm not a big fan of welding new metal into that because that is your primary cripple and safety zones. In the middle, you're able to get away with these caps very well, and this is the most common rotted spot. I don't know how much of this we're gonna have to put in, but I bought it all. So it's all here, and we're just gonna put in what we need to. So I'm excited to go through that whole welding process. But yeah, on top of needing to fix the frame, I need some other parts. So let's go shopping.
Buying parts is something we all do. Shouldn't we be rewarded for it? Well, O'Reilly Auto Parts has got you covered with the O Rewards program. With O Rewards, you earn points for every dollar you spend. And at 150 points, you get a $5 reward. And the best part is, each month you have different items with multipliers allowing you to earn points even faster. Like, check this out. You get double points on MicroGuard Select Premium oil filters. But make sure to check the sales flyers, because sometimes you get double points, triple points, instant rebates on certain items different every month. And did you know you can earn a $10 reward by converting any traditional O Rewards account to a digital account? And it's incredibly easy to do at any parts counter with one of the O'Reilly's Parts Pros. And you get to track all your rewards right from your phone. The best part about the O Rewards program is nearly everything in the store earns you points. Detailing supplies, paint supplies, all these wonderful switches and electrical doodads. All right, man, triple reward and a $5 rebate.
Got you on that. Actually, this qualifies for a very special O Reward.
Really?
Here you go.
Oh, special and adorable. Oh.
Wait, hey, sir, you forgot your light bar.
I've got enough here. I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I got what I need. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for O'Rewards today and start earning points and rewards on all of your automotive purchases. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices, better rewards, better puppies every day.
All right, well, we are back in the shop from that shopping trip. And if you're one of the people who jump ahead, you really should go back and watch that. I promise you, it's worth it. 100%. Comment below if you watched it and you agree watching that particular ad spot was worth it. So those of you who skipped ahead, I'm going to go ahead and wait. Go back, watch it. 60 seconds. Come on, guys. Helps me out, helps sponsors out. And you get to see a very special surprise. Have you gone back and watched it yet? Come on, guy. Really? Just help us all out, and I promise it's worth it. And now that you have finally watched it, yes, I'm it was a shameless excuse to use the new puppy. He's absolutely adorable. If you didn't watch, now you are going back to watch because I mentioned puppy. His name's Magni, and Pierre is taking a huge liking to him. They're having a ton of fun running around the yard, and he'll be joining us in the shop a little bit more once he's a bit older. He's, still a puppy. He is going to tear everything apart, so he's not quite ready to come here. But let's show you what I did pick up. Wasn't a ton of parts, but it's some very important parts. Now we can take a little bit closer look at these frame sections. So these are the rear frame caps. They weld in the middle. We will need to go through, clean them up a little bit, and get them coated on the inside as well as the outside. So when we weld them in, they're not just immediately rusting. So these are rear sections. These are front sections that include a body mount, and these are the center sections. Now, these are kind of like your biggest common rust areas on these TJ frames. So I was really excited to be able to find a full kit. There's lots of different manufacturers. I'm not going to tell you who's better or worse, because I don't know. I'm not a Jeep guy. I just happen to have a Jeep. So these looked really good. They had good metal thickness and a really good review. So I felt good with them. So that's what we ordered. We got a set of our house brand Master Pro sway bar end links. What I did realize after getting back to the shop though, is I've got a lift kit. I'm gonna guess those are extended sway bar end links, which aren't stock. They had stock parts in stock. But what I can probably do is steal these bushings and put them in the new, or those end links, the old end links. Take the new parts, modify and put it to the old. Obviously, I am voiding my warranty when I do that. We've got our heater core. We've got to pull literally the entire dashboard apart. I was thinking, hey, it's a Jeep. It's gonna be easy to do. No, it's I'm not gonna say hard, but there's a lot to do to put one of these in. And I have got something to paint the entire frame with. The Duplicolor Professional brand, the Rust Berry. This is really good. You get the loose, flaky stuff off. Does a little bit of metal conversion, and then it completely seals it. It works amazingly well. It covers incredibly far. And what I really love is the fact that a lot of the O'Reilly stores carry the professional lines. They have really, again, there's the over-the-shelf, simple sprays, and then they're able to offer these really high-end stuff. You can brush this, spray it. We are going to go ahead and be brushing on the Jeep because I don't know how deep into the frame we're going to repair. There's going to be a lot of cutting, grinding, and the smart thing would probably be to pull the body off, but we're not going to do that. If we need to make this kind of a quick repair, but not make it a shortcut repair, if that makes sense. We want to be quick, efficient, get this thing on the road, and ready to pass inspections for states that have inspections. Georgia, I made a joke. I can probably register a ham sandwich here. It's there's some scary cars out there on the road. I'm responsible for some of them, if we're being honest. But for work today, what we're going to get started with today is we're not going to quite tear into the frame just yet. We are going to start the process of replacing the radiator and the heater core. A Jeep's a small vehicle. It should be easy, right? No, for whatever reason, they designed it that the entire dashboard comes out. So we're going to go ahead and set up a couple cameras. We are going to strip down an entire dashboard and get a heater core in it, just in time for summer. Does that come out? Oh yeah, I need a radio. Did I just put in my really good one? Hard thing. That's actually a pretty decent speaker. Just a note, if you're ever working with airbags, just make sure when you store them, put the bag side up, just so that way in the event of accidental discharge, it doesn't launch itself. So if you ever find yourself in that situation also, that you're pulling a steering column like that, you most certainly want to go ahead and put the nut back on slightly, so that way as you're sawing it back and forth, you don't take your face out. We'll find more bolts. We'll keep taking them out. These bolts hold this main metal structure in, and I'm willing to bet I just need to pull those main bolts out, and the whole thing will come forward enough. So you actually don't have to pull anywhere near as much out as I am. Mainly steering column and these side bolts, but I'm choosing to do a little extra. Part of it is I want to try to have plenty of access to work through these cables, as they were a little sticky on temperature select. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. It's just, the cables are locked in and this pops right into it. I'm also realizing that there appears to be more bolts. Oh, I see them. There's 10s down here. So bolts, bolts, up and forward. Yeah, right call. And yes, I get it. You Jeep guys are probably like, you don't have to do that. I would have been done 20 minutes ago. Just like when it comes to me working on a Supra. It takes me no time because I know them. Who'd have thunk familiarity grants speed? Money. Okay. More money. More money. It's the Jeep that keeps giving. You know, if this was an auto, it'd have a lot more room and this would be easier. But what makes it so cool is the fact it's a manual. Come on. Ah, you booger. Make me regret the decision in a minute when something else breaks while I'm unplugging. Maybe. Is that it? Am I a victor? Signal. Oh, man.
I mean, listen, it's not an easy task, but I have definitely dealt with a lot worse. He says as he still doesn't have the whole thing apart. But I think the whole dang thing comes out as one big old chunk. One big old chunky chunk. Come on. Do I have to get the metal tools? Come on. There we go. Can't quite tell if you're designed to come as a whole or if you do break. Alright, well, I'll be right back, guys. What's happening here? Okay. There we go. Let me know when it starts getting loose, guys. Guys, what happened? You're supposed to be watching out for me, but it looked like you guys dozed off. Come on. I think I got everything. So, we're here. There we go. Oh, I think. Yep, okay. Hey, let's go take it all apart now. All right, heater core out, or heater box assembly. One thing we're going to go ahead and do, so the heater core has this. So this is. All right. So at some point, this has had a repair. My guess, from looking at it, that shape, someone missed a bolt during removal, and it broke. That's my guess. Do you guys have any guesses? So we'll come up with a slightly better patch, but as you can tell by the fun design of this thing, the heater core lives over there somewhere, right in here. So we need to get to that. The other thing we want to try to look at is this blend door apparently is really stiff. This is your hot-cold mixture door. And I don't know if it's all in the cable being slightly out of whack or if we're dealing with a problem inside the box. The good news is we're taking the whole box apart, so we'll be able to kind of play with it and see if it's a cable thing we can try to fix. If it does appear to be cable, can we replace the cable? Or what we've got going on. So that's one other thing we'll need to address while we've got it all apart. This is your blower motor plug here, and it's mostly, other than the blend door, all vacuum controlled, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. Also, I'll be getting a new dryer bottle. Something I found interesting. So the AC wasn't charged. That's because the lock spring is gone on there. So we get a new dryer bottle, replace that lock spring with it. We're probably going to get some frosty AC, which that's probably a little more useful than the heater. Now, Jeep guys, I'm not going to be offended if you decide to go ahead and comment below suggestions that will make this easier for other people. Like, blower's got to come out for the box to split. We're about learning and helping each other. So, again, I'm not too proud to say, other than that CJ5, which is somehow a lot simpler than this, I've not done a whole lot with Jeeps. Nothing against them. I'm a Scout guy. Doing a heater core on a Scout, you know what you do? You open the hood, or at least on my 800. Scout 2s are a little bit more work. But I open the hood, disconnect 2 hoses, then I go ahead and pull the barn door off and remove the heater core. Job done. Yeah, need to get the extension on those. Vallejo. You start seeing them pop up a whole lot. They do a lot of climate control parts. I think they do some alternator parts too somewhere. Okay, you came off without too much trouble. All I can say when you're working on unfamiliar. Just never force. Just work around slow, gentle. Ha! See? Slow and gentle. Something didn't feel right. Here's one more bolt. Hiding under that connector. Boom. Hat is off. So we'll lift this thing up. And she is definitely leaking. You can see. Can you see? Well, it's just copper colored. Hey, remember changing it at some point, but I don't know how many aftermarket ones are copper. But we can also look in this box and you can see a lot of grody coolant, which that might be contributing to our blend door friction. So we'll take everything out and give it all a good clean. And then I'm gonna have to get some plastic weld so I can make that repair a little bit nicer, I think. Because it's got the right idea going on. But the problem is things just aren't gonna bond well. Well, I don't see any other damage, so we just gotta get this blend door moving happy. So let's work through that together real quick. Oh, I guess when he converted AC, he had to, like provisions are there, but he had to cut and make the hole. Maybe we'll be getting a blower resistor too. But this is a hand cut hole for this blend door. So there's a spring here. Not sure why. Yeah, it's acting like our problem is gonna most likely be all the gumminess. So how do you come apart? Oh, I see it. Little tiny Torx. Let's get the Torx out, and then we'll clean. Then we'll pick up tomorrow with more parts. Hooray! Now that we can talk, I am setting up a new patch. So it was cracked through here and cracked through here. I know this is really common for most Mopars just because they have a few hidden pain in the butt to get to screws that hold the box in. So this is bonded fairly well, and I'm just going to kind of coat it with my plastic bond and epoxy. And then this piece, we don't have to worry about, is it the same plastic, because it's the part that he cut out when they installed the AC for the flapper door for the refresh versus fresh air. So we'll clean this up a little bit more, coat around, boom. We still won't have that one mounting tab that lives there, but obviously it was going just fine without it, so not too worried. I mean, we could just do duct tape. It obviously held up for a while. Just trying to knock off any of the plastic from the grinder that would have gotten hot enough to kind of just form a little bubble. Now I'm not using acetone. Not at all, because I couldn't find where my acetone was. But acetone can react to certain types of plastics. I'm not 100% the type of plastic that this is. So rather than risk melting the plastic from the acetone, we're just going to use grease and wax remover. Now, acetone could actually be used to bond this stuff together. That is an acceptable way for some plastic gluing. It's like acrylic, I believe, like what they make those big, beautiful, fancy fish tanks out of. That's all
I believe, acetone glued. Oh, here. I could clean this up a little bit more. It's PP plastic. Was that polypropylene? We got Dr. Google. Oh, it is polypropylene. Okay, no. Sometimes you worry you might not be as smart as you think you are. Just because I know what a PP is, it still doesn't make me smart, but, you know, I can feel smart. Best change that these epoxies have come with is a mixing tray and a spreading spoon. Cures in 30 minutes, sets in 15, dries tan. That's good. No one will know that we made a repair then if it dries tan. That's the adhesive and wax remover that was just not coming out. Don't do this unless you know what you're doing. I really don't, but I kind of do. I at least pretend pretty well, right? So it's always risky. You get into those movies that end up just being total stinkers, but you don't really find out it's a total stinker until you've made it about, 40 minutes in. Because you're given a chance. You're like, man, surely this is going to turn around. And it doesn't. But now you're 40 minutes into a bad movie. And you're like, I can't walk away. I've got to see this through to the end. I've had that happen a few times. This is messy. I needed a bigger bowl. I guess they weren't expecting someone to Yahoo the whole thing at once. This looks like snot. Now, we wait. We're picking you guys up. I went ahead and let that epoxy set, and I got the air box put back together, and we got it in the Jeep. Dashboard is in, we cleaned up the radio wiring a fair bit, and charged the air conditioning, which works. One thing that doesn't work, which is a problem of the climate control selector, is it never selects center vents. We can blow cold air out of everywhere else, but the center vents and these face vents don't open. And referencing Dr. Google, that's a selector problem. Go figure. But that's just a couple screws to change out, and it does not affect us from getting this thing driving and able to pass tech. Well, inspection. I'm used to calling it tech inspection, racing. But let's crawl underneath. I got some lights, and we're going to go over the frame now. Now, I'd like to put it on the lift. One, Earl's kind of there, and I got a Ferrari, and it's raining outside, so I can't move everything around and get this on a lift. So if we just come through the frame section, this area will sometimes rot, but it's actually in really good shape other than some scaly rust. The hole here, right there, that is full intact, no problem. So this will get sanded, and we're going to coat it with that Duplicolor rust coater. Up through here, really great shape. You can get new spring purchase because, again, it has a little pocket that will collect stuff and rot. But these are in good shape. So again, scuff, coat. We get into the known problem areas right here. You can't quite tell because that's a defined hole, but she's pretty thin there. And yeah, a little bit of previous poking. We have gotten a lot to fall out. So if you remembered in that one piece, it replaces all of this intersection, both of our suspension mounts, and it caps this entire just completely rotted out bit of frame. So we will end up undoing our brake lines, pulling this stuff clear, and we will have to cut these brackets off and then cut just what's left of the bottom. So we have the ability to get in there and also coat this stuff and clean the rust out. Position and weld in our cap. Now, something else we'll have to do as we're working is, just for coating and cleaning sake, is pull these step bars off, which does worry me a little bit. Those aren't the best condition screws, and I don't know if they, let's see, I feel like those are nut inserts in the frame, which means those are all probably going to fail. So we'll have to come up with a solution for putting these back on. Now, when we get up here into the center section, we do have some scaling rust, but you can come in with a hammer and this is going to be solid. So two really good tools when you're kind of doing a check on yourself would be what's called a needle scaler. I'll pull that out here in a little bit and show you what it is. It's basically an air hammer with a bunch of sharp little fingers that will actually come through and knock this off really good and get the scale rust gone, and it puts us in a good position to, again, coat. We did have this whole center section of the frame if we needed it, but we just need to get the rust off and coat it. It's not perfect. It's not going to be fun at all on my back. We will start one side at a time. We'll go with this one first. We'll pull our running boards. We will get this wheel pulled off of it and support the car, drop those arms, and get to cutting. And once we get it all cut out, we'll start sanding a little bit and coating. I should just put it on the lift. It would be a lot easier. But, you know, let's do it like how you guys are going to do it. On your back in your driveway. Obviously, on your back, you want to wear safety glasses. I picked up some new ones that seal to my face. I don't know what this smell is, but it's... I might have to go put my respirator on to wear my safety glasses. Now, I considered pulling the tub off, which would make the frame repair just like catastrophically easier. But you always introduce more potential problems when you consider how many bolts you're going to also be undoing in order to do that. Now, this is the needle scaler. Again, you see it's got all these fun little fingers. Quite loud. I'll probably end up with headphones here real quick. And by real quick, I mean right now. That's gonna be rough. Big thing is I just want to kind of roughly confirm my suspicion about the rest of the frame. It's all really solid except for this one little bit. So the tub has to come up. I'm going to try to make it so we don't have to pull it. Almost can get the bushings out.
Left. There we go. Yeah, go. Yeah.
I mean, all in all, the rubbers actually are in pretty good shape. Yeah, that'll be the room I need to be able to make that good.
Cutting those brackets is still going to be a little interesting, but...
Stylish, aren't they? Working on rusty vehicles, protect your eyes. It's kind of hard to tell. I actually even had it off at one point, and I have a ring from the rust staining my skin, but it's not getting in my eyes. So you don't get that many sets of eyes. Protect what you've got. Let me show you where we're at underneath. We've got the vehicle up, all the body mounts loosened. So underneath, now with all the suspension arms off, you really get to see that rust. So now in the video, we talked it up as this huge deal. The truck's going to break apart. This is not good in any aspect, but it wasn't in imminent danger of breaking, fracturing, causing an accident. I really don't want to kill myself or anyone else out there, so we do take precautions. But now what we can do and figure is look at our frame cap here, and you can see sway bar bracket. We're gonna have to drill the hole for the brake line. That doesn't exist. But this is designed to be a cap to go up and over your existing frame, and you cut out the rust and everything and go from there. This bracket here, the top one, I'm gonna come in and cut with a Sawzall, and then we can come back with a grinder. Same with the sway bar bracket. And get a Sawzall in there and we can grind that nice and flat for the cap to come over. For this one, I'm either gonna use our death wheels or I'm gonna come in with the plasma and pierce this bracket off, get this horn away. Once all those brackets are off, we'll actually come in and cut most of this lower channel out, because this is our worst rust. This is the most, likely to start rusting again. And once that's cut out, we can flush it with air, get all the loose debris, and start putting some of that Rust-Oleum coating on this. And we'll coat the inside of this and get it ready to weld in there. So cue up smaller camera, awkward angles, awkward cutting, and let's move a little bit closer to getting this Jeep ready for the road. Because summertime's coming, it's got AC, and I did the thing you're not supposed to in a flip series. I kind of fell in love with it after that road trip, because it's fun. I'm supposed to only like Scouts, but there is something fun about a Jeep. The goal is leave as much as possible, but at the same time, I don't want to risk leaving rust behind. I probably should have looked at a mirror first. I feel like Zoolander in the mine. I got the black lens. I can't even get the line right. It's been a day of grinding, but I got the black lung, Papa. But I was wearing the dust mask. Hopefully we're doing all right there. The hair is looking fantastic because I just blew it out with dust. Update on where we are at. We don't have the coating or paint on it. I plan to try to do all of that. It's now just incredibly humid. It will probably be perfectly fine, but I'm kind of tired and don't want to deal with the multiple coats and everything and stay here that much later. So we'll get here bright and early, get that done, and then have just a little bit of waiting before we can get those parts on and weld them, and that'll let us do a couple other little things. But let me show you how bad the rust was on the passenger side. And I'm going to try to avoid showing off and spoiling the other big problem that we're going to have to work through a little bit later. But, yeah. Notice there's a whole lot less frame there. I cut out all of the bad, so we have strong metal left. Yeah, this side did a whole lot worse. So we've got all of the bad chunky metal out, which is going to let us get our patches welded in, and I look rough, man. Even with the glasses, sometimes you get stuff behind it, so wear safety gear when you're working on old rusty stuff. I'm going to clean my face, I'm going to clean my hands, I'm going to put on a change of clothes, and drive home. And then we'll get back at this tomorrow, where we'll get our patches painted, welded in, and try to get all the spherical joints moving correctly in the rear suspension and be in a good spot. So I'm not going to bother to do a witty, transition hand over lens, because I'll totally forget. Instead, how about we just do this? Dwayne, insert one of the cheesiest 1990s, wipe transitions right here. Aren't those wipe transitions just a ton of fun? Living in the 90s. The 90s might be old enough it's cool again. Well, my hair's a mess because I've already been doing a little bit of work, and one thing I wanted to get figured out was the best way to mount up and weld our brackets after getting them coated. I actually did that last night because I found out Georgia was deciding to have a ridiculous cold snap. March, 30 degrees, not normal Georgia stuff, but we've got the heater going so we can get paint on other things through the day. But we got to get our brackets welded in. So already went through and have this one, and sorry about the light positioning, I'm set up for the other side. Now that is going to be drastically easier with the body off. You can get your top welds a whole lot cleaner, but we aren't going necessarily for absolute perfection. We're going for good, we are going for safe, and we're going for something you can do at home. I don't want you to have a project just sitting because you feel like you need a ton more tools and it's way overcomplicated, because it's not. You need a welder, you need a grinder, a lot of safety gear to keep the rust out of your eyes, and we got this side now set up to go. Now I have my square because we took our measurement to position our mounting hole front to back. We've got our coating that we can weld through on it, so hopefully the metal underneath will be less likely to rust. We're using a jack to press it up, and we've got this clamp just to kind of help assist here. And we're going to go through and kind of burn in a little bit on the outside, then we can remove the jack, pinch the clamping, and do the welding on the inside. Inside welding never goes really well. It's just your blind welding. Do the very best you can, and try not to set yourself on fire. This is the most on fire I've been in quite a while. I like these pants, but maybe they're the fabrication pants now. I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I'm like, gosh, my leg is hot. And I look down to see just flames boiling off. I sent that to my wife and she was like, hey, can you please stop setting yourself on fire? It's a valid request. Hey guys, remember when I said the temperature wasn't quite right to paint and I was trying to heat things up? We'll see how much that smooths out. My prediction is not. But there we go. The primary rust that kept this thing from being able to go down the road is now fully repaired. We've got this cap in. Now again, I bought all three sections because I wasn't sure how bad the frame was going to end up being, and we only needed these rear sections. I think you can buy decent, good quality rear pair patches like this for $90 or so. There's some cheaper ones, I've seen as low as $40. I like this because it was a thicker gauge steel and it actually swung way up here, giving us a lot more reinforcement. in that Welding process, and it has a drain built into the bottom. So that is fixed. And I was impatient painting, and it was too cold. But yeah, we're not painting today. It's too cold. I can't get things warm enough, and we're not finishing the Jeep in this episode. My initial goal was that we were going to be totally done. But who would have thought a Jeep that I bought for $1 that was parked because of rust issues, terminal rust issues, was going to have surprise rust issues while I was fixing it. Yeah. I don't have everything I need to fix. I've ordered some of it, and I've discovered I need to order a whole lot more. So let's show you what's kind of stopped us. That's going to need more fixing. And again, we are still trying to do this with the body on. If I pulled the body, all of this work would be drastically easier, but most likely you at home trying to fix your car, you're not going to have cranes or lifts or anything you need to get the body off. So I'm trying to kind of work through with you how you would be doing this at home. Because again, a lot of the Questionable Garage is about inspiring you guys to fix your cars. I don't want you to be afraid of stuff. It seems very daunting, but if you have some grinding skills and welding skills, you can do all of this work. You can save this vehicle that was destined to end up getting parted out or crushed. Like it was end of life, no more, no good, and we're saving it. It's going to keep living on. Now, let me get down here. Yeah. If the Jeep among you will start to notice something. Well, let me show you where it gets real good. I knew that there was a small hole here, and my initial plan was to just make a little patch and show you how to do that. Well, unfortunately, this entire actual body mount bolt-in, it's held on by the just tiniest fraction there and the tiniest fraction here, meaning we need to do tub rails. Now, you can buy an entire rail that goes front to back, this entire section, and they also sell them where they splice in about here, which is absolutely perfect for us because, well, all of our, like if you look here, that's good. All of our rust are on our rear two mounts. Changing this may, again, it looks daunting when you first look at it, but all we're gonna need to do is there's a series of spot welds that come along this panel, inside and out. Now again, that was wet paint. The inboard spot welds will be a little bit tricky because we've got the frame to work with, but we can make do. We take all these spot welds out, we're gonna make one cut here, and then we can position in the new channel, spot weld it back to the floor, and we have saved the Jeep again. So all of this stuff, the one benefit of a Jeep over the Scout, there's parts available for it. My poor International, you have to make everything. But that's not where our surprise fun ends. Let me go show you something else. So a factory TJ is got what's called a 4-link suspension. It's got these link bars that help locate the rear end where it needs to and allow it to articulate. I did notice the Jeep road a little bit rough, but I assumed it was a Jeep. Also, my end links were too short. These spherical joints, these are upgraded arms, they're not factory. These spherical joints for the upper link were locked up, but I was able to work really carefully and have got them moving. Let me go show you something that I can't get moving. Yeah, these lower arms are completely locked up. I've tried getting set screws out to actually unscrew the caps, to take the joints apart, to clean them and work on them that way. I've done everything I possibly can, and they don't move. So, good news is, you know, really nice arms are cheap. Not really, but I guess, you know, we're in the Jeep for the right price. Factory has got rubber bushings on each side, and basically the only reason we had any rear suspension was this rubber bushing was doing all of the work. This joint is supposed to have some movement. It had none. It was all in this bushing. So in the interest of, again, making it right, I would just try to order spherical bearing ends, but the problem is, one, these arms, they're pretty rusty. We can make do with that, but the big thing is the threads are completely seized. This lock nut will not turn out, so it's not even serviceable.
So we have made a tremendous amount of progress on our $1 Jeep. It is nowhere near $1 anymore. It's creeping up there, but we are fixing it, we are saving it, and letting its story continue on. Zach was really excited to see what we could do with it. Was kind of hard letting it go a little bit because, again, his family bought it brand new and had, listening to his stories, talking about them moving friends through college with mattresses strapped to the roof of that thing. Again, cars have stories, some cars have souls, and they're meant to carry on. So we've got the frame fixed. It needs to be prettied up a little bit more, but it is a solid frame with no more rust holes falling apart, and hey, it'll pass inspection now. We've got working air conditioning for the car we can't drive, and we have a heater core that is no longer dumping coolant out, so it will, in theory, pass inspection. So next time on our fix and flip series, we're going to fix the tub. We're going to put a whole new rear set of 4-links in the back of it and detail it. We are going to make it pretty. There's a couple interior things I want to touch up and take it for a drive and get this thing sold so we can move on to our next car in the flip series. So we're working hard. We've started with not a lot of money, and we're into a Jeep that should hopefully sell pretty well. I'm excited about all of this. Appreciate you, as always, hanging out with me in the shop as we make some questionable choices and sometimes not so questionable choices. Jared reminding you guys, well, I've already said it, always make questionable choices, and wear your safety gear. You don't want rust in your eye. You're going to lose a lot of profit if you got to run into the hospital and get your eyes fixed from rust. I don't know if any of that made sense. I'm kind of tired. Been a lot of work. We'll see you.